Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's try this again. And then he called his 12 disciples together, that's Jesus, and gave them power and authority over all devils and to cure diseases. And he sent them to preach the kingdom of God and to heal the sick. And he said to them, take nothing for your journey, neither staff, nor scrip, nor bread, nor money, nor 2 coats of peace. And whatsoever house you enter in there, stay, and when you're ready to leave, leave. And whosoever has not received you when you go out of that city, shake the very dust off your feet for a testimony against them. And the disciples departed, and they went through the towns, preaching the gospel and healing everywhere. Bottom line, love is a thing that you've got to share. You can't keep it to yourself. However, if people don't want the love that you're giving them, do not force it down their throats. Instead, turn, dust off your shoulders, and move on to the next. So, when we talk about Wonder Woman, it's very interesting how this movie ties into Batman v Superman and also ties into Justice League. And I just want to share with you a couple things that are really awesome about this movie that I think you should know. So first of all, how does it tie into Batman v Superman? Well, at the end of Batman v Superman, Bruce Wayne says to Diana, something's coming. Help me find the others like you. And she says, suppose they don't want to be found. And he says, nothing. He actually says nothing. And she then continues and she says, man-made, I moved away 100 years ago. I moved away from mankind. An era of horrors. Man has made a world where standing together is impossible. Now, I have tried to do these videos so many different times, so I'm going to try and get this one done, alright? So that, when she said that, what was the context she was talking in? So let's get into that in a minute. Okay, first of all the gods of Olympus you will see in front of you right here. The Olympus, or Olympic gods, or the gods of the Olympiad, are headed by Zeus. Before that was the Titans, and Zeus and his Olympians, they were able to overthrow the Titans led by Jupiter. You can go read that in the War of the Gods, volumes 1 to 4, and you can also read it in Wonder Woman issues number 58 to 60. You can also look and find out a little bit more about the Olympians in Injustice, the 4th year, issue number 11. Now, as to these gods here, you have Athena here, you have Ares, you have Poseidon, you have Apollos, you have here, maybe this is either Hera or this is Hestia. I'm not too sure which one it is. And this here is Hermes. Now, of these different gods, we can just see what they are all about. So we have here, we have Apollo. He's the god of the sun, music, poetry, oracles, healing, and medicine. We have Ares, who's the god of war, violence, bloodlust, courage, and ferocity. We have Athena. Athena is the god of wisdom, strategy, craft, skills, and warfare. We also have, I'm just giving you the names of all of them and what they do, right? Hephaestus. I didn't tell you about Hephaestus. This is Hephaestus right here. And Hephaestus, if you see, he's holding a helmet. And that's because Hephaestus is the god of fire, blacksmithing, forgery, artisan craftsmanship, sculptures, metals, and volcano. Okay, here is a nice depiction of Hephaestus right here. And you can see his sword is on fire. And you know he makes all kinds of artisan stuff, right? Alright, and then we have Hera. Now, the woman that you see up there, she can either be Hera or she could be Hestia. Okay, Hera is the queen of the gods, the goddess of marriage, home, woman, childbirth, and family. She's the wife of Zeus. And Hestia is the goddess of hearth. Okay, so she's able to do, you know, they talked about the lasso of Hestia. That was her. And Hermes. Hermes is the messenger of the gods, the god of thievery, speed, travel, and commerce. But he's basically the messenger of the gods, and he's very fast. Now, what I want to just tell you very quickly is that almost all these gods that I just mentioned here are associated with one of the Justice League characters that we will be seeing on the screen. If not them, the new gods have something to do with them. I'll give you an example. Superman is a Kryptonian. Krypton is associated with apocalypse. Apocalypse. The Kryptonians knew something about Apocalypse. Okay? Cyborg uses apocalyptic technology. That's why Cyborg is what Cyborg is. Then you have the Flash. Interestingly enough, the Flash wasn't just struck by lightning. I would say that he actually was struck by some sort of power that had something to do with Hermes. Because Hermes is the god of speed, as we already know. He's also a messenger of the gods. And we know this is Hermes because if you look here, this is two like snake heads entwined, you know, spiraling around each other, a double helix. And then they come up to two wings. And that is the sign for Hermes, and that's what he always usually carries in his hand. And just in case you don't believe me, I'm going to actually bring up Hermes here in a second. Kaboom! Alright, and here is Hermes with what I am talking about. There he is right here. Oh, I passed him? There he is right there. See? You see the double helix with the two snake heads and then the two wings. Okay, and if you look at Hermes here, if you can pay attention, you will see double helix here and then the two wings. This is one, and you can't see the other one. Okay, so this is Hermes, and he always has a helmet on. Alright? So, like I said, the Justice League members. Batman. Batman is a man. He's created by Zeus, so therefore he has something to do with Zeus. Who else? Aquaman. Aquaman has to do with Poseidon, who is the god of the seas. He's also the god of earthquakes and horses, right? So Poseidon has something to do with that. And of course, Wonder Woman is the daughter of Zeus, but Zeus also created the Amazons. And interestingly enough, that kind of overlaps with what Poseidon's doing, because the Amazons came out of the sea. And who's the god of the sea? Poseidon. Okay? So Poseidon has something to do with Aquaman, Poseidon has something to do with the Amazons, and therefore Diana. And interestingly enough, Poseidon, as you can see, he has a trident there. Alright, this is a trident. His son is Triton. And the interesting thing about Triton, if I can just get to him very quickly, is that Triton is the messenger of the sea, he's the son of Poseidon, and he's half man, half fish, like he's a mermaid. And so, you know, Little Mermaid, Ariel, and so on, yeah, Triton. I think Triton was her father. So what I'm starting to say to you is that the mermaids, the Atlanteans, and the Amazons, they are linked together by the gods. And we also have the new gods, which has to do with Apocalypse. And in the beginning of Justice League, we see a scene sort of similar to this scene right here, which is when the Amazons are created by Zeus to help mankind fill their hearts with love so they don't strive against each other, be jealous of each other, and fight each other down. And they also help to protect mankind, because Diana says it's a sacred duty to protect mankind. So they try to protect mankind. They protect mankind from Ares and other threats. And if you look at the beginning of Justice League, apparently the new gods try to take over Earth, and there is not only a working together of the Amazons with mankind, as you see here, but there's also the working together of the Atlanteans, the Thanagarians with the Amazons and mankind in trying to quell this threat of the new gods. Okay? And you find out more about the new gods, like I said, in War of the Gods, volumes 1 to 4, and also Wonder Woman, issues 58 to 60. You'll find out about that, okay? Now, on to what I was saying. So these gods here, they're pretty much related to the characters we've seen in BvS when they were cameoed, and also they're pretty much related to the characters we're going to see in Justice League, in the beginning of Justice League, and so forth. And when we find out more about Aquaman's roots, I know in the comics his mother was an Atlantean and his father was a human. He's a demigod, a half-god. But I don't know how his roots are in the DCEU, so I'll have to wait to see. But what's interesting is that almost all of these gods that we see up here have something to do with almost every member of the Justice League except for Cyborg and Superman. Okay, but they're associated more with the new gods, right? Now, in addition to this, I wanted to talk about a couple things, like I said, that Diana said. She said that man is made of word where standing together is impossible. At the end of Wonder Woman, we understand what that means. We also understand what she means by I walked away from mankind 100 years ago, which was after the World War. She's talking really about not showing the world, like Clark Kent did, Superman, or Wonder Woman in this case. She never presented herself as Wonder Woman to the world for them to know who she was. Instead, she kind of did it on the D-low. So, in the day, it seems though she was an antiques dealer or something, especially in current times. And in the night, she would work as the Wonder Woman and try and help people and stuff. Because it seems as though Diana just can't help but help people. And she feels obligated to protect mankind, which is what the Amazons were created to do. She learned that from Steve Trevor that mankind is not just being influenced by Ares or some outward force, but they actually inherently have to battle with the inner turmoil of the darkness within them. You know, there's darkness and light within them, and they have to make a choice which way they want to go. And no hero can do that for them. So she realizes she can't save the world, but she can contribute to the world being saved by love. She realized and concluded that love is the thing to save the world. So as a result of that, that film sort of put into context what she was saying at the end of BvS. She didn't walk away from mankind as in she left mankind to themselves. No, she just didn't declare herself as Wonder Woman. As you can see in the end of the movie, she was looking up into the sky, very much like how she looked up into the sky after Superman died, and she saw Lois Lane holding him crying. Very much the same thing she did, because I guess she remembers Steve Trevor. But also, in addition, she also said, man made a world where standing together is impossible. And I think I understand what she's saying. Basically, her mother, Hippolyta, said the very same thing. She said, be careful, Diana. All right? They do not deserve you. She learns later on it's not about whether they deserve her or not. It's what she believes. Is she believes that love can save the world. And if she does believe that, then that's what she's working towards. She learned that later on. But what's important is that she realized that Hippolyta also worked along with mankind for a season, and then they betrayed her. And so Diana instead seems to have learned from Hippolyta. She seems to have learned from Steve Trevor, and she's kind of assimilated herself into mankind. I believe she can't go back to Themyscira, which is another point that I want to make. Zeus had hidden Themyscira and hidden the Amazons in Themyscira because Ares had knocked out all the other gods after the Amazons, when they were betrayed by mankind, like I said, they ended up freeing themselves by rebelling and revolting and freeing themselves from mankind. Ares didn't like that. He tried to attack them. The gods tried to defend the Amazons along with Zeus. Ares basically killed off the gods in physical form one by one. Zeus was able to overcome Ares with a thunderbolt, and then Zeus sought to protect the Amazons by hiding them in a place known as Themyscira, also known as Paradise Island, which was hidden from the world. So, as it would happen, Diana probably can't go back to Themyscira because she can't find it. You know, it's because it's hidden away from the world. So she left Themyscira. That was easy to do, but coming back to Themyscira, it kind of sounds like rebirth with Rucker when he was talking about that. So I think that's where they're going with that. Now, as to why she said man made a world where standing together is impossible, now it makes sense. It wasn't that she was being pessimistic. She's very optimistic, even in spite of that. But because men they can choose light or dark, it's kind of hard for all men to come together. At least not for an infinite amount of time. And even when she did vanquish Ares, man came together for a moment. They had the amnesty, but then they went back to war. Just what Ludendorff told her, just what Ares was saying all along. So, as a result of that, her statement now makes perfect sense. And it actually carries into Justice League, because now we understand her understanding of it, and also that she's been helping mankind all along. It's just that she has been doing it more in quiet. And this is why when Lex Luthor found out the stuff, probably because she was always helping people, Lex Luthor got onto her. She was trying to hide that information, keep it, disappeared. She's trying to keep her identity more of a secret, which just makes sense. Unlike what happened with Clark Kent. So she was observing things from the background. Having said that, let me see if there's anything else I would like to say concerning Justice League. So, what I would say is that BvS, certain things at the end of BvS, I think have been cleared up by this movie as to how Diana's intentions, what she was about, etc. And I think also that some things from Justice League are now cleared up, because we know that there's going to be more Amazonians there. We're going to hear some more dialogue between Hippolyta and Antiope, which is way before Diana's time. So I think that the scenes where they actually join together with other people of mankind and the Atlanteans and Thanagarans to fight the new gods, it seems as though that is going to be very interesting. Okay. I don't know if they'll give a little backstory on how the Amazons actually came into being in bondage. I don't think all of that will happen. But I would really, I would die to see, I would love to see the Amazons. They're just their whole story. I would like to know more about them. I really would. So that's some of the connective tissue between Batman v Superman and Justice League. Now you got a better in-depth understanding of Diana, how she applies to the Justice League, and I think you can move forward from there with the connective tissue, understanding how the gods might have played a role in how interconnected Aquaman is and his destiny, and interconnected with Wonder Woman, how the Flash might be interconnected with one of those old gods, and Cyborg, and how these metahumans come to be. I think Suicide Squad was perfect in that respect as well, because Enchantress was saying that you know it's the rise of the metahumans, and nothing can stop it. And Enchantress obviously comes from Earth 13, which is another dimension. But it's interesting how she talked about the rise of the metahumans, and it makes sense now what these metahumans are. They're basically the demigods, which is why Lex Luthor said gods among men. So I hope that clears up some of the stuff that we've been talking about. I heard Hercules in the comics is there as well, and it's just really cool to see all these Greek mythology, just kind of the old Greek mythology with the modern superhero genre kind of intermixed. Wonder Woman does all that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool. But on that note, I hope you guys enjoy this. You guys have a great one.